So this week, Throne of Liberty gets a new update. We can already see the expected changes, including the new Tevent Guild Raid event, a bunch of interserver siege changes, and finally, a higher level of potions, giving you a lot more healing with even the ability to restore some mana. Like an actual mana potion, not just a mana regen. There's a bunch of weapon fixes too, and again, a bunch of new events including Tevent, and the ability to get a bunch of nebula chests. Just be aware Fortune's Calling event is ending this week, so make sure you spend that solent for this Thursday if you want your chance to obtain these rewards. And I recommend getting to at least 3,000 and you can get all of these guaranteed rewards. They're not too bad, particularly the Chaos Rune chests. So let's go through the details. Just be aware, all of these are confirmed for the Korean server, as these are their patch notes and they are like Google translated. So there can be some misalignment with, say, the translated names of things. However, their patch notes is generally far more detailed than our own, and we usually end up with the exact same patch, a simple copy and paste. So let's have a look. The Guild Tevent event is going to start June the 11th. For us, it'll be June the 12th in Europe, and it's simply the exact same thing like the Balandir event. You will go to your guild merchant, you will purchase 2 of these, and during the event you should be able to kill Tevent 6 times, unless they've gone and changed that. Checking here, it says up to 4 times during the 2 weeks of the event. So we should be only able to beat Tevent up 4 times. And like the Balandir event, you will undoubtedly drop those Tevent weapons at a small chance. So if you want to be getting those, you can expect the prices to drop a little bit just because more people will be able to actually get them, and thus the demand on the auction house won't be as high. Just be aware to wait till Wednesday and the prices will drop significantly because we get Peace Tevent, and 2 weeks after that we get it again, and that's probably when you will see the lowest prices of these weapons. And on June the 26th we get the new raids. These will bring the new legendary items, which will allow you to take the skills from older weapons and add them to these. And that will indeed include the skills from these Tevent weapons, along with the other Balandir weapons, and then just all the tier 2 items. So it can be very valuable to pick up said weapon, particularly some of the more niche ones like the Tevent Daggers and the Tevent's Wand. But jumping back to the patch notes, we can see there's a bunch of interserver siege changes. This doesn't really affect the majority of you because only the top guilds can participate. The Alliance, which holds the castle. Basically, they'll gain a bunch of participant rewards, so I guess there's still some incentive to partake. But looking at the new potions, right now, the best one we can get is this rare recovery crystals. Heals you for 2,400. And in terms of mana, we only have the mana regen potion, which is a little boost of just 75. And that's only 75 mana every 10 seconds. But this change will add a bunch of recipes, allowing you to use a lot of our current items while also using 5 of those recovery stones to create these new ones, as you can see right here. One is going to heal you now for 4,800, 2,400, that's normal, but then plus 8% of your max health. Very good for HP builds. Then restoring a little bit of health, but then healing you over time for up to 10% of your max health. And finally, one that heals you for the normal amount right now, but then also restores 800 mana. I wish it was a bit more mana. At least for me in my class, I have 22,000 max mana, and you get through that pretty quick when you consider the mastery bonus Dragon Ascent, getting down to 60% very fast. But I guess it will help a bit, and it's a little bit of an improvement from the rare recovery crystal. It's simply that plus 800 mana. Overall, pretty decent, and at least for me on Invocator, I don't really see the need for that mana. It's not a lot compared to our overall, and then we could just be better having a bit more of a heal, particularly with the new raids coming. And then we can see they're adding the option finally to limit your frame rate when running the game in the background. This is huge for me because I'm recording right now. This is just Google. The game is open, and so it's using unnecessary resources to run at, say, 60 frames per second when it could just run at 5 when I don't actually look at the game. I'm looking at some other tab. Then we have a bunch of skill fixes here. So Bastion, I believe this is on the Sword and Shield. There was a visual effect while using it within stealth mode. For the Greatsword, Blood Devotion, they fixed an effect so that it was not applied when the caster used the skill consecutively. Probably only really applies to people who use Blitz on Blood Devotion, but potentially if you have enough cooldown as well, you can then use it back to back. I'm not sure if that's what it means. We'll have to check that later. Then with Dagger, Shadow Strike, there was an issue where it was moving you abnormally. Longbow, I believe this is Nature's Blessing. The duration effect will now properly be extended by buff duration, I believe. And then the Mastery, this lightning speed, I believe, will properly be considered lightning damage. Then for equipment, I believe this is Bercant's Daggers. The bonus should no longer stack to, say, shred the enemy's endurance. And then Giant Cordy's Wand, they fixed an issue where it wasn't applied consistently. And then just a bunch of fixes here with, say, some fashion patterns. They will compensate you back sewing threads, probably not for us on global. And then a bunch of codex fixes here too. And that's pretty much it for this update. Again, that Tevent event, your guild advisors or guild leader will have to purchase these stones to be able to fight them for 500,000 solent, and we should be able to do this 4 times during the 2 weeks event. Again, for us, Fortune's Calling is ending this week, June the 11th, and phase 2 should begin with getting the Nebula Conquest chests, because I believe they made a mistake where phase 1 initially stated that it would be this next week, but they've actually adjusted the blog and now it states, yes, the first 2 weeks is phase 1 and then the following 2 weeks is going to be phase 2. So that's pretty neat, getting those conquest chests. But that's it for the update news for this week. A special thank you to all these channel members for their extra support. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.